Good morning, everybody. Welcome to the Meta Cafe. Grab your cup of coffee, your water, your tea, and sit back and enjoy some astrology, human design, and I've even pulled oracle cards for today. So it has been a busy morning so far, and I love days like this. It feels good to be alive, and it feels like there's purpose and reason for things. Let's see who's out here watching this morning. Good morning, Suzanne, and good morning, Michelle Gay. Good morning, Roseanne. And, Roseanne plays a role in my life sometimes. By the way, she lives nowhere near me. I've never met this woman in person. Londa's in the bath. Thanks for joining us, Londa. And good morning, Mimi. And so anyway, Roseanne, sometimes you just play this most wonderful role in my life. And she was the one who mentioned something one morning about a story, and I end up seeing this big blaring message right in front of me about how will you live your life, or how will you tell your story. And this morning, actually, I think this started last night. She was texting me these ahas, and I hope you don't mind me sharing, Roseanne. She was texting me these ahas that she was having about the Black Moon Lilith. And the Black Moon Lilith, for those of you who don't know, is she's a mathematically contrived point, but she represents our shadow, the part of us that we don't see clearly, but that is constantly putting pressure on us to possibly not act in our own favor. In fact, I would say she never really pushes us until we recognize her to do what we are really designed to do. Once we recognize her, however, the shadow is no longer hidden from us. Now we can see it, right? It's in full view. And even though there are times situations come up that dog us in the shadow, we are able to work through that energy. And she is giving me permission to talk about this. So thank God, because I'm already talking about it. And, sometimes I call her the Black Moon bitch. Sometimes she's not so much our friend. But this morning, there's just something magical in the air today, I think, possibly as a result of some of the shocks that we received through the previous week while the sun was moving through gate 51. And shock is not always a bad thing, right? Shock is sometimes in fact, the opposite word for shock, or another, let's see, what is that called? A synonym for shock would be an awakening. And so the awakening for all of us is different sometimes, but is always along the same lines. And it's the word that I came up with when I woke up this morning, and that was empowerment. I woke up like at 6 a.m., jumped out of bed with that word running through my head. And one of the first things I always do in the morning is I grab my phone and I look to see what the hell's happened overnight. And I started seeing, messages from Roseanne, because she's 3 hours ahead of me. And I see this email from this man who I usually just hit delete. And instead, I didn't hit delete because something in it caught my eye, and it was the word empowerment. Now, really, I can't make this stuff up, people. This happens all the time. And if you're awake, and I was barely awake, but I was awake enough to follow the threads. And so I wake up with this word in my head. I go to my phone and I happen to see this man whom I'm usually not even looking at, and I just hit delete, but I caught the word empowerment and I went, oh my gosh. So I posted this morning a video. I think it was a video or a link to a video for this woman that he was advertising for. She happens to be an Aussie and has a wonderful accent. And I was able to follow her, though, and there's just something about her. There was something about her and something about empowering women that I found quite compelling. And when I find these things compelling, I share them with you. And she may not be the right person for you to work with, because that's not my point. It was the message that she was bringing to us. And what she's talking about is the shadow that women are often carrying around with them when they go into business. They carry their own worries, their own type of worries and anxieties into the business world with them. And then they are attempting to be everything to everybody. And of course, then you set yourself up for an inevitable failure, because you can't be everything to everybody. You have to be able to pick and choose what you're going to do and how you're going to be empowered to move through your life. So you'll see that on the Living Astrology page, as I posted that earlier. So then, of course, I get Roseanne's messages about the Black Moon Lilith. And I went, okay, so that must be today's message. We're going to work with the Black Moon Lilith. And so she's someplace different probably for almost everybody out there. When you pull a chart, she looks like the crescent moon with a little cross underneath it. And let's see, do they call her the Black Moon Lilith? No, in my astrology program, they just call her Lilith. So you want to be careful that that's the symbol that you're looking at, because there's also an asteroid called Lilith that is a different body. And so it's a little crescent moon, and the cross underneath, and that's the Black Moon Lilith. And if you need to know where yours is or you're interested, just send me an email at janethickox@gmail.com and let me know you want to know where your Black Moon Lilith is. It takes just a few minutes to look this up. So now, I thought might be interesting to look and see where she is right now. Right? Where is she transiting right now? Because she wouldn't be coming up in our consciousness if there wasn't a reason, a transit or something that is, bringing her up in our consciousness. And sure enough, I looked and I saw that she's sitting in Of course, I've known she's in Capricorn. Londa, yours, because you and I are only a couple weeks apart age-wise, I think she's in Leo. And Leo is about resisting change, wanting to keep things in order. What was the other thing? Roseanne just sent me that because I said mine happened to be in Leo, so I'll read it to you. And it's not a fun one. I actually have the whole ebook on the Black Moon Lilith. So it looks like, Roseanne, that's what you have too. Laura Walker, who I've interviewed numerous times, whom I absolutely adore, did the work on the Black Moon Lilith well before anybody else was really doing that work. And it's very powerful. So for you, Londa, the Black Moon in Leo is the shadow of order. The primary fear is the fear of change. The self-judgment is the level or station one has achieved. And the issues come up around order, position, arrogance, self-centeredness, jealousy. The projection is the distaste for or an over-identification with overbearing, vain, or selfish people. The goals to identify and vocalize others' talents and strengths, to identify the opportunities presented by changes, to eliminate feeling jealous, the manifestation. I mean, I can go on and on. Better yet, I'll just email this to you, sweetheart, so that you can see that for yourself. So wherever your own natal Black Moon Lilith is, you are actually working on that as your personal shadow. But where she's transiting becomes the collective shadow that we happen to be dealing with at the moment. And the collective shadow happens to be in Capricorn. She is sitting degrees 1657, so she's really almost to 17 degrees of Capricorn. That puts her smack dab in the middle of Pluto and Mars. So she's being lit up for us as she's at the midpoint of these two planets. One telling us that we have to become empowered, and the other telling us we have to take action in order to become empowered. I don't make this up. I mean, the connections are just zinging through my mind here today. And of course, the moon is still in Aquarius, and that means that there are a lot of connections being made. So when I looked up what she was sitting at, she is sitting at gate 54. Gate 54, for those of you who are my coaching clients right now and are going through the mystical circuit, you might recognize gate 54 as the gate of enlightenment. It is the gate of ambition and drive that pushes us out the door onto our hero's journey, if you will, of discovering who we are and what we're meant to do and how we become enlightened. In the mundane world, gate 54 is really about ambition and drive that leads us into the business world. So it's kind of a double pronged sort of attack. And what I woke up with this morning was this idea about women in business and how do we empower ourselves. And then I also am having this discussion with Roseanne about how to deal with our shadow. And here we are looking at collectively enlightening ourselves through this work. It's amazing. It's just amazing. And I hope the words that I'm speaking are digging into you and you're understanding why I'm making those connections, because sometimes words defy the meaning. Or let's see, meaning is whatever, right? There aren't the words, right? Sometimes to talk about this. So I want to look at the gene key of gate 54 to see what our shadow, our gift, and the siddhi is of this particular gate. And the gate, the lowest expression of the gate is greed. Greed. The gift of this gate is aspiration. And the highest expression of this gate is ascension. So, God, if that isn't appropriate for what is going on in our outer world right now, I don't know what is. And wasn't it extraordinary yesterday that the last day that the sun is in the gate of shock, the universe delivered our president, whom Mimi affectionately calls 45, or maybe not so affectionately, delivered him the shock of his life, and his attorney the shock of his life, when the FBI raided his office, his home, and his hotel room simultaneously, grabbing up information that I am sure is going to cast some kind of light on some very interesting things. Judges don't just offer up those kinds of warrants, and there has to be cause, and they have to know that there's something, that's some connection to where a law's been broken. And so it'll be interesting to see how this plays out. But that was shocking. It even shocked me. I was in the middle of a coaching with a client, and my phone starts buzzing over and over again as every news media outlet began sending me text messages about what was going on in the world. So shock is alive and well. And the shock, though, has a purpose. And 8645. Oh my God, I love it. I'm going to post that up here. Roseanne says 8645. That's like numerical code for oust him. Just oust him. And Mimi says she just can't say his name. And I don't blame you. Dump Trump is another one. Good one, right? Anyway, I don't care about what he's doing, but I do care about what it means for me personally to see this going on in the outer world. I care about what it means for us collectively that this is going on in our outer world. And many times we talk about the fact that our world right now is our country, especially, let's just bring it home to the US, is really we're grappling with this energy of greed, where we are either indifferent to the plight of the people that don't have, the have-nots, or we are the ones that are in the haves, and we are greedy, like we're just gobbling up things, right? We're pulling them to us. It has a devastating effect on us as individuals, on us as a community, as civilization, and it also has a devastating effect on our planet, because the earth is really here to support us with the resources that we need to live our lives fully and wholly. But when we dive into the shadow of greed, we begin gobbling up all of those resources. It becomes a game of who has the most toys, who has the most money, who has the most oil, who has the most water, land, fill in the blanks, right? So we are grappling with this as people, and the Black Moon Lilith is pointing it out to us. And I love that the highest expression is ascension. Some of you know my take on ascension, especially if you're generators, and we're going to talk about this. Remind me to tell you when we're doing the workshop. We're going to talk about this a bit during that workshop that I'm doing next week, because those of you who are generator types, 70% of you out there are generators or manifesting generators. You are here to descend into the physical and be here in your body on this planet, interfacing with everybody out here in the world. That is your job. That is your spiritual job. That is why you came here to this planet. If you are a projector, you did come here to descend into the body as well, but you're maintaining a connection to source that's really powerful, and is why you have an open sacral and don't have the same amount of energy for work and staying active as your counterpart manifesting generators and generators do. The whole concept of ascension is a frequency change. We're not going somewhere, right? We're not getting lifted out of the body and going to the fifth dimension or something to that effect. And anybody that tells you that is misleading you, right? You're here in your body to ground that frequency in, to ground the frequency of higher order connection to God, to source, to spirit, and living that truth in your physical body. Lovely. I'm not sure how I got onto that. Oh yeah, because of the Black Moon Lilith. Oh, it's going to be one of those days. So the middle way, the gift in this is aspiration, the aspiring to move beyond the greed model that we have in front of us, the aspiration to work with our fellow human beings in a way that is enlightening for all of us. It is the aspiration to find the big answers. Roseanne, what you are on is a journey, the hero's journey. Aspiring to find the answer of your shadow. For whatever reason that you got onto that, that is the path that you were going down. And anybody else who's willing to go down that path, there are jewels at the end of that road, or I want to say at every leg of that journey, because it's not something that is a direct line. I doubt seriously, Roseanne, that you came to all of that in one direct line. And it doesn't always feel very good, right? It doesn't feel good sometimes to dig into the heart of this. But there are such jewels along the way in really understanding who you are, what you're here to do, how it is that you succumb to that shadow, and how it stops you from being the most powered or empowered you that you can be, that indeed we need you to be. So look into your Black Moon Lilith. Suzanne, I saw you said you were looking at yours now. Do you want to tell us where yours is, Suzanne? I can't remember how old you are. The Black Moon Lilith, by the way, stays about 9 months in a sign and takes about 9 years to go completely around the zodiac wheel. And she, it'll be interesting. I'm not sure if she retrogrades or not. I would have to look at that. I would say no, because she's not really a planet, but it's a possibility that she hangs at a position for quite the time. So she's been in Capricorn for a little bit now. And here she is caught up with these, major players in the game. And so it bears looking at, as women need to be empowered. She says she's 47 and she can't find her. I'll find her for you. Oh, that reminds me. Let me look at something very quickly. If you guys will bear with me while I pull up my copy of the Black Moon Lilith. And maybe, Roseanne, I know you have yours open. Maybe you can look up for me. See, 47 years old. So what year does that mean that you were born in, Suzanne? Black Moon Lilith. Who gets excited about this stuff? I get excited about this stuff. I guess you can tell. So let me go back to the very back. And of course, my computer is behaving badly because I've got a million things open. Oh my gosh. So, oh my gosh. Okay. So, well, let me go back to Be Live here for a moment. 1970. Honey, I need the month. Oh, 1070. Is that October 1970? Okay, so if I look at your Black Moon Lilith, then 1970. So from September 4th, 1970 to May 31st, 1971, she was in Virgo. So you and Roseanne need to connect, because Roseanne has just come to some stellar ahas around the Black Moon Lilith in Virgo. And that was the healing of judgment. Self-judgment is often a big problem there with this particular sign. And anyway, so I don't want to take up the rest of the time, Suzanne. Oh, July. Okay. Sorry, Suzanne. Sorry. That's going to be a different sign then. It is going to be in Leo. You and I have the same one, which is interesting, right? Because I'm about 9 years older than you. So of course, right? December 8th, 1969 to September 3rd, 1970, the Black Moon Lilith was in Leo, which is basically the one I started reading for Londa. So there you have it. So we've got Leo, we've got Virgo. I don't know if anybody else wants theirs, but it's easy enough to look up. And if you want to, you can go to Laura Walker's website. I hope she still has it on her website, which was I think it was oraclereport.com, but I wouldn't swear to it. and you look for the download for the Black Moon Lilith. And maybe I'll just find it myself and post it for you guys here later. All right, so Black Moon Lilith, interesting transits. Interesting that collectively right now she is pushing us to become enlightened. And the way you become enlightened, people, is you look to your own self. You don't look outside of you. You use what's outside of you as a way for you to see yourself more clearly, as a way, Oracle Report, yes, okay. So oraclereport.com, and look for her. It'll say ebooks or books. Look for that, and you can download a copy of the Black Moon Lilith. And if you need a conversation about it, let me know, and I'll be happy to have that with you. By the way, I'm on Messenger. I'm on, what is that other one? Messenger. If there's a social media out there, pretty much I'm on it. If you need to find me, you can find me, and we can have a conversation about that. Or you can always contact me through the Living Astrology Facebook page or the Living Astrology website. Okay, so what's going on? You know what? I was so excited by everything else going on this morning that I didn't even really get time to prepare very much for us to chat about. But let's just say we are still in the energy of the moon in Aquarius. And so these stellar ahas are still coming at us, right? Or they're coming at me, and I'm not anyone special. So they must be coming for all of us. All we have to do is tap into them and be a part of it. And the moon spends the rest of the day today in Aquarius, which means we're not dealing with a void of course moon today. However, tomorrow morning, we will be dealing with a void of course moon. So I'm going to bring it up now so that you're prepared in the morning. Tomorrow, 4/11, the date 4/11. You're fine, Roseanne, don't worry about it. It turned into an awesome conversation. So the moon tomorrow morning, 10:55 a.m. on the East Coast to 2:40 p.m. Before the moon moves into Pisces, it will be void of course. So a good chunk of your day, if you have things to get them done early in the morning. And then after about 2:30 or 2:40 in the afternoon, you can be back to that. In the West Coast, we are 7:55 a.m. to 11:40 a.m. So it's just about the opposite for us. Wait until afternoon, wait until lunchtime, and then the energy changes and you can do some work, something new, something different after lunch, let's say. All right. So today the sun and the earth are changing gates. They're moving out of the gates of shock and what was the other one? Shock, and it's got to be gate 25-ish. No, it'd be the opposite gate. So gate 51 and gate 57. Oh, that's March. Here's April. Yeah, it was gate 51 in the sun, and it was gate 57 in the earth. And today it is going to be the sun at gate 42 and the earth at gate 32. Now that is going to be fascinating in and of itself. So let's take the sun first. The sun at gate 42 is in the gate of finishing things, getting things done, bringing it into completion. Now, I find that interesting because here we are leading into a new moon coming up on Sunday. And so this is a time to make some completions, to bring things to a close that need to be closed up before you can start on something new. And I was just looking at the cards I pulled to see if there's an echo there. And there may very well be. So the sun giving us the strength and the ability and the action steps to make completions in some way, shape, or form. Or sometimes people are really good at entering into something halfway through it and being and are able to take it to completion. The people that have gate 42 natally, that's what you do really well. Somebody else, a manifestor, gets the ball rolling. They throw they do the breaking ball with the cue in a pool table, and they get the thing rolling, and somebody with gate 42 comes in and takes it to completion. Well, that's where we all are with this energy today. So even if you don't have gate 42 by birth or defined by birth, it's suddenly defined, and you are better positioned now to bring things to a logical conclusion, coming in and seeing what needs to be done to bring it to that conclusion. The Earth at gate 32 is probably the more fascinating thing. Now, remember, in human design, the way I look at this I don't know if anybody else does, and I don't really care, but this is the way I really think of this, is that the sun gives us the full force of its life-giving energy, and it moves through us, entering the crown, and comes right down through to the base, to the root, to the earth where we are grounded, right? Where we are grounded. And when we're looking at gate 32, it is the opposite gate of 54, where the black moon Lilith is. So where the black moon Lilith is the shadow right now of becoming enlightened, moving forward with ascension and our aspirations, gate 32 is the continuity, the ability to stay the course to get done with that particular work. So if you start this work, I think, Roseanne, you probably can absolutely agree with this, in that you got onto this, right? You caught on to something to do with your shadow self, and you didn't let it go until you could take it to the end. You endured through the energy. So this is really about the continuity to get to success. Gate 32 sits on the spleen, however, and the spleen is a center that we think of as having fear. Those gates can all double as fear gates, places where we can become paralyzed. And the paralysis point for us at gate 32 is the fear that we're going to fail, that we're not ever going to succeed, that, all the ambition and all the drive and all the excitement and the search for enlightenment is all for naught, because I'm never going to find the answers I seek, or I'm never going to get to success. And so here is the energy for us to really keep enduring through, making adjustments to whatever it is that we need to do to get to the answers we need, to get to the completion of a project that we've begun, or to make it through. One of the things, ooh, that light is bright up there. Oh, look, I have a halo. Ooh, look at the light bulb on my head. I have an idea. I'm amusing myself. I'm sorry. The thing that was so exciting to me this morning about the video that I was watching, that I shared with everybody about women in particular, is this giving up on ourselves that happens, not just, and I'm sure it happens to men too. So if you're a man and you're out there watching this morning video, don't think I'm just talking to women specifically, but this particular video was about women and how we give up on ourselves, especially when it is that we come into some kind of feeling of failure, where we have been enduring and we've been working ourselves silly, and we're still not seeing the results that we want. And now we have to stop and we have to look at that and we have to go, there must be another way to make that light bulb, right? Thomas Edison certainly didn't give up, even though he went through, I don't know, some 1,800 different ways to make a light bulb work before he got to the light bulb working. So don't give up on yourself is the message here, right? What's grounding us to the earth this week is really about sticking with it, being willing to make adjustments that, instead of the beating your head up against the wall and trying to keep making it work in the old way, try something new, adjust your strategy, perhaps adjust your thoughts, right? This is a long way from the mind, by the way. But the mind is still where we default to make decisions. And here, this is telling us to do something different. Listen to your intuition, perhaps, or your instinct. There's got to be something, a voice, a small voice in your intuition, your spiritual body that's speaking to you of being able to do something different. So failure is the lowest expression of this gate, and veneration, that's an interesting word, the highest expression of this gate. I see it that no matter what, the only failure is when you give up on yourself. Don't give up on yourself. You might have to give up a sacred cow. You might have to let go of the way that you're working a plan, but you don't have to give up the ideal of what it is that you want. You just might have to find a new route to get there. And that's what this gate is all about. So lovely energy at this gate. Okay, now I pulled some cards this morning because I was kind of spacey and I wanted to see what might be the message. And I got two cards and they were both upright. Right way up. And they were number 39 and number 43. And number 39 is the one that came out first. So we're going to look at that one first. And it is called New Life. In just a moment, as soon as I find 39 here, I will show you the card because it's lovely. And oops, here she is, a fairy. She is just waking up. The colors in this are really beautiful. The pedestal she's sitting on is purple or lavender, and she is waking up in a purple little tutu affair, and she's stretching and she's reaching up for the sky. And the card itself, New Life, says the essential meaning: birth of new ideas, growth, opportunities, a breath of fresh air, life renewing itself. Gotta love it. The message from the oracle is: when spring awakens the world, joy and excitement can be felt all around and in your very core. Blossoms burst from trees overnight. Birds return home and sing their glorious song. By the way, I saw the first goldfinch yesterday. Every year about this time, usually not until May, but maybe I just don't notice them until then, the goldfinches return. And I'm not even sure if that's that they return or they just are here all along and they begin to turn back to their yellow color. I'd have to look that one up. However, there are yellow finches now, goldfinches here. Okay, so birds return home and sing their glorious song, and nature is full of promise. Miracles beckon all of us. This is one of those times in your life when new ideas inspire you and new opportunities bring you hope for seeing your dreams come true. All is well in your world, and you have the energy you need to feel renewed. Allow your heart to be filled with enthusiasm. Let your light shine, for this is a time of good fortune. I like this card. Let's see. Let's read the prosperity message in this card, and then I'll show you the second one. The prosperity message: you have every reason to be optimistic right now, as things seem to fall into place magically. I hope that's true. New opportunities remind you that abundance is available to you. Delight in the bounty that begins to appear in surprising forms. Stay curious and know that your hopes and dreams are being fulfilled. It's as if new life suddenly infuses your projects, work, and creative ideas with a kind of electricity that crackles with exciting potential. Fortune is smiling on you. By the way, this again is from The Wisdom of the Oracle by Colette Baron Reed. All right. Now the second card. This one is, I think we've had this card before, and it's equally as gorgeous. Here we have the full moon with an owl sitting, and I'm not sure what the other body is in the background. It could be the earth, although it doesn't quite look like the earth, but it seems to be the owl that is sort of integrating the energy between two planets, perhaps. So let's look at what deep knowing means. And again, the card was upright. The essential meaning, intuition, listening to the oracle within, empathy and hypersensitivity. The oracle's message is: intuition is the faculty that allows you to enter into a dialogue with source, the consciousness that you are a part of but cannot see with the naked eye. It's perplexing that people are taught to ignore this natural capacity to navigate their journeys, to access their inner guidance. Know that you have an ability to read between the lines and find all the truth that was missing when your story was told. This deep knowing allows you to open the door to wisdom far greater than what is available in the limitations of human experience. You're given information that may make no sense whatsoever to the logical mind or the five senses, but is 100% correct and true. The trick is to listen and then to act accordingly. You're now invited into the sacred dialogue of deep knowing. So tune in and trust your vibes. They will be right. Ask and you will receive answers from unusual sources. I love that. The prosperity message: this is a time when your hunches will pay large dividends if you listen to them. Take the risk and act. Within you, there is an oracular consciousness, a higher and deeper knowing that transcends the machinations of the smaller thinking mind. At the deep level of your intuitive senses, you have an access point to the genius of the collective. The energies of all thinkers and creators, all inventors and leaders, and all that you need in order to leap into success are available to tune into. This is an act of listening intently. Past the busy mind, your genius awaits. Gotta love those two messages. Wow. Wow, wow, wow. Okay. Lots of juicy meaning there in those. Lots of energy triggering in my mind, going around and around and around. Good stuff. Good stuff. Good stuff. Okay, so our webinar coming up next Wednesday, April 18th at 4 p.m. Pacific time, 7 p.m. East Coast time. I will today get the posting up for everyone. Now, listen, I know my poll was about 50-50 split, but some of you didn't do the poll. You actually contacted me personally, and those who contacted me personally really liked the 18th better than the 15th. So majority rules was a tight race, but the 18th won. But the if you can't make it, don't panic, right? Don't panic, because I will record it. And if you have purchased your seat in the event and you don't make it, you will still have the link to be able to listen to the replay. So don't panic over not being able to be there live. If you are coming live on the 18th at 4 p.m. Pacific, 7 p.m. East Coast time, have your human design chart there with you, printed or on your phone or on your computer. I don't care how, but have it with you. And if you need your human design chart, if you've not yet received one, go to my website, www.living-astrology.com. There's a little button over here that says request a free chart. It's not even that little, it's a fairly big square. Click on that and enter the information, and I'll be happy to send you your chart. All right, I think that's all I have for today. If you have questions about your Black Moon Lilith, feel free to reach out. I'll post Laura Walker's link on my page later here. And I wish all of you a beautiful day, dealing with your shadows, making it your friend, or in whatever way that you are going to bring something through to completion this week. I'm standing behind you as the cheerleader, egging you on, providing space for you to do that. And with much love, I wish you all a happy day, and I will see you tomorrow morning. Bye for now.